Welcome to the Epic Man podcast, where we let our curiosities and theories run wild and sometimes talk relevant news. I'm Josiah, and with me, my one and only friend, the only one who is truly loyal to this podcast, Michael. How are you doing today?
Dude, I'm doing so good. I'm here.
It's you and me again, man.
I know. Somebody else isn't here.
I wonder who that could be. I wonder who that could be.
I think, you just count the people here.
I don't know about you, but I'm noticing a consistent theme here where one person isn't showing up.
Uh-oh.
And it's not you, because you're here. You're here all the time.
All the time.
But someone else isn't here, and that's Ben. Little Ben.
Little old Benny Bye.
He decided to take off on vacation and leave us here to do all the hard work. So
yeah.
And that's fine.
It's fine.
That's totally fine. He needs his breaks, and he needs his vacations. Dude, when was the last time you've taken like an actual vacation?
My last vacation was seriously like 2 years ago. Like, me and my wife went to California. I don't even know if it was like at the beginning of 2 years, like the beginning of 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Is when I had my last vacation. Was
that your other Reading trip where you had the amazing biscuits and gravy?
Yeah, I had like some of the best food ever. Shout out to Deja Vu Restaurant. I just found out the name of it yesterday. Because I did not remember because I was so blown away by the food. I forgot everything else but that the food existed. But yeah. So
that's awesome.
But yeah, beginning of 2019. So it's been like 2 years, and here I am. We're grinding. We're making it work.
Yeah.
And then Ben just is like, "Hey man, sorry, I gotta."
It's been like a whole 2 months since he's had a vacation. So it's a long time, man. It's a long time.
Yeah, just saying, me and you are here, and somebody else isn't here to defend themselves. So there's not really anything to be said.
Last vacation I took was 2 years ago as well.
Oh, see, we're due for a vacation. You know what?
Yeah.
Next week, me and you leave, and we'll be been here to do the podcast by himself.
Oh man, nobody on the entire planet would want to listen to Ben for an hour.
Well, it'd just be Ben staring at the screen, going like, "Hey guys, what's up? What are you guys up to?" And there's no response.
Let me give you some of my hot takes.
Yeah, I'm gonna go through a whole list of my hot takes. Beauty and the Beast is not a good movie.
The live action version is much better.
So much better.
And yes, that is something that Ben claims.
He says he
denies it. Ben also denies that he ever said that season 8 of Game of Thrones was amazing, which he absolutely said.
I definitely heard him say it,
because I watched the entire season 8 with Ben, and he and I debated over that season so much because I thought it was trash and Ben thought it was great. So
I heard him say it before.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, Ben, like this is before I had watched Game of Thrones." And I was like, "No, dude, I remember you talking about it, saying it wasn't that bad." You were like, "No, it's actually pretty good. I thought it was great." That was great how they wrapped everything up. So
I hear some music. Let's
go. That was one of my alarms going off. Look at
Let's
that.
Let's jam, boy.
Dude, we're jamming. So yeah, man. I don't know. It's
it's that's fine. We can totally run this without Ben. That's how it is. I'm eating some chocolate right now. I have some coffee. None of that $200 chocolate or anything. Anyone who watches our videos on the main channel, Epic Man channel, you guys know what that will be about. Probably by the time this video this podcast episode comes out. So, but yeah, we're gonna be trying some $200 chocolate over there on the Epic Man channel. So make sure that you guys go check out that video and see what we think about that.
Yeah.
So,
it's something else. We're living the high life for a day.
Yeah, exactly.
Ben gets to live it like apparently every month when he goes on vacation.
Must be nice. Must be nice.
Hey, I don't know. I wouldn't know. I haven't taken a vacation in 2 years because I'm out here grinding and working.
I mean, we can roast Ben all we want because Ben never listens to these episodes, he claims.
No,
it's fine.
He doesn't listen to the podcast, bro.
Yeah, he doesn't listen to the podcast.
I appreciate all of you guys that do listen to the podcast.
Absolutely.
Also, listen, anytime any of you guys listen and you comment, say anything, just even like good job or thumbs up, it makes our day.
Yeah, it really does. We do appreciate it a lot. So, leave a comment, leave a review, all that good stuff. It really boosts our ego and helps us out a little bit and makes us
me feel better about myself.
Yeah, and that's kind of nice. It's kind of nice every once in a while to.
It's almost like that's my vacation.
Yeah.
Being here with you guys, being here with you, Josiah, is my vacation time.
I will take one comment from you guys, even if it's just a thumbs up, over a weekend vacation.
Yeah.
Any day.
Any day.
So, in fact, that would be an even better vacation than what Ben is taking right now. I guarantee you that.
Yeah.
The last time I took a vacation, I didn't even really do anything fancy. I just went to a beach house. My grandparents own a cottage and stuff on a beach, and just went there and grilled some meat and
why'd you
just hung out.
What kind of meat were you grilling that you were like hesitant to say? Grilled some people?
Well, at first I was gonna say burgers, but I was like, I didn't just grill burgers. I grilled brats and steak and chicken and all sorts of stuff. So
you kind of had I got you.
Normal meat, not like anything weird, but
not people meat. Yeah,
no.
Don't eat people meat. That's not a good thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Not really into it.
What do you mean? You're like pulling an army hammer on us. I want to eat your big toe. Oh, jeez.
Oh man, that guy is crazy, dude. Isn't he like in jail right now or something?
Well, he's gonna be going to jail. Old boy went too deep down the rabbit hole, man. Listen, he did all of that posturing and talking all that smack about all those people and trying to, make himself look all good as he could. And then all of a sudden, here he is. Like,
that's often the case. It feels like it feels like it's usually people that virtue signal the most that end up being the biggest creeps.
Yeah, dude. I mean, just like, man, he was out there for a while, but here he is.
Although I'm not too surprised that the guy who, basically actually played like a pedophile character in an Oscar nominated movie ended up being this way. So
yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah, it's weird.
Something else. It is weird.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of weird, speaking of, controversial actors, people like that, and Hollywood being crazy like it is, because, listen, we all make mistakes. We all get second chances. Some of us get second chances when we do things that probably are a little bit less likely should get us a second chance. But James Gunn just released his trailer for Suicide Squad 2, which is just called The Suicide Squad, which is different than Suicide Squad by David
This
Ayer.
is the Suicide Squad.
Did you watch the trailer?
I did.
What'd you think?
Wow. Well,
wow.
I don't know. I can't say that I'm like overly hyped about it, but
wow.
I mean, it looks like it's going to be a wacky time, and if you're into that, then that's cool, I guess.
Don't get too excited about it, man.
I don't know. It just like I don't know. Nothing in the trailer necessarily like grabbed me. Like was like, oh my gosh, I need to see this movie. Like it looks fun, but it didn't make me like super excited about the movie, I would say. So I don't know.
That's fair. I kind of felt the same way. So despite his controversy and some of the not cool things he did say, that he definitely did say, I think James Gunn's a good director. My one concern, my one feeling about all of this is it felt very much like a rated R version of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I did kind of get that vibe too.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm really hoping that the direction of this is so different than Guardians of the Galaxy that I can't draw the comparisons.
Right.
But if I can draw the comparisons, I feel like that's kind of that to me is telling of James Gunn that like, oh, okay, maybe he's a little one note now. Maybe he's not as, on it as I thought he was. I think he's a good director. I think he's a good writer. His dialogue is always actually really impressive to me. A lot of his Like a lot of the like stuff in the movies that he does where like all the comedy and the funny moments and stuff like that, a lot of the stuff isn't ad-lib. Like a lot of that is stuff he writes into the script. Like, so I think it's kind of impressive that he's got that good of a grasp on stuff.
Yeah.
So I think Suicide Squad's a good opportunity for him. The one highlight for me, honestly, and she's kind of always a highlight, Margot Robbie. Always.
Oh yeah.
Just bringing her A game with Harley Quinn every time.
Yeah. I love Margot Robbie. She's like one of my favorite actresses working in Hollywood right now. And she's just like phenomenal as Harley Quinn. She totally owns that role. So
yeah. Oh yeah.
As much as I'm not really excited for the rest of the movie, I am always excited to watch more Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. So and I love her costume in this one too. Like it's like leaps and bounds better than it was in Birds of Prey. So yeah, I think it looks good. I don't know. I still personally like the one from Suicide Squad, I should say, not the Suicide Squad, better. I just felt like that was like such an iconic look to the character.
Yeah.
And it just really just like, I don't know, like when you see that, you immediately just know that that's Harley Quinn, you know?
Yeah.
And
yeah, I agree. Well, I think it's an interesting thing because so I'm in a weird spot. Like I know some people will probably be like, oh, you freaking simp when I say this, but that's okay. I do agree with the attitude that like, Harley, like Margot Robbie complained a little bit, like her costume when she was doing the first Suicide Squad movie was a little bit like much when she's like in a t-shirt and booty shorts and like the rain and they're like, oh, rain and stuff like that and all, and like Will Smith is like full on like tactical gear and stuff, but like I get, and I kind of on the side of like if a woman playing a character isn't comfortable in the costume, there's ways to work around it, there's ways to do stuff, there's ways to like accommodate that. Like just like what's her name, Jennifer Lawrence, she didn't really like how she had to be naked under the costume for Mystique all the time,
right?
So they ended up like refining the costume. It got way easier for her. She wasn't in makeup for 12 hours a day, stuff like that. Awesome.
Yeah,
I'm all for that stuff. But I do agree with you that I think there's a kind of a blend. I feel like the first Suicide Squad, she is way more iconic. It very much feels like Harley Quinn, feels like a modern take on this character, who, by the way, a lot of people don't know this. Like Harley Quinn didn't even exist until the Batman the Animated Series. She was a original character created in Batman the Animated Series.
Really?
To be Joker's girlfriend. That was her concept.
Wow.
But she was such a popular character and she did such a great job. And the voice actress, whose name is slipping me right now, but I used to know it by heart. They're phenomenal. Oh, they did a great job. Well, Batman the Animated Series is like one of the best like Batman properties, period. But
that's so interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then she got her own comics and stuff, but she's huge, but she's very modern. I mean, she didn't even show up until the 90s and stuff. And so
wow.
She hasn't been around as long as a lot of these other characters, and it's a testament to like good writing makes good characters, which can lead to like popularity. So here's this character, and I think that there's kind of an evolution. Like, okay, cool. Here she is wearing like booty shorts and a t-shirt and like high heels and hitting dudes with baseball bats.
Yeah.
Next movie, I don't know. I didn't hate Birds of Prey, but I certainly didn't love it.
Yeah.
And some of her costuming choices in that felt really, it was honestly more than anything to me, it just felt confusing. Like, like I'm like, okay, cool. Like, what's the theme here? Cause like, I guess I didn't really like, I don't know, at times the costuming felt a little awkward, little like out of it. Like, I'm like, I don't know,
Yeah.
James Gunn's Suicide Squad, she's got the dress in those couple scenes, but then like her full on like Harley Quinn outfit, that to me is like the perfect blend.
Yeah.
It's got this really cool, iconic, I loathe to use the word, but the word I'm thinking is like sexy, but not sexy like, oh man, like I'm getting my jollies watching this girl. Like sexy, like it works for her, but also like it's kind of practical. She's not like showing her bare midriff. If like Margot Robbie wants to eat a burger in between takes, she doesn't have to worry about being bloated, you know, like some of the stuff that she complained about. So I'm like, interesting that like James Gunn kind of like fixed the two and kind of found like a good middle ground.
Yeah.
But I think that's saying something too. I mean, yeah. So I'm pumped for that. I'm super excited to see Margot rock it again. My boy Idris Elba always looking good. Yeah.
I'm excited for Idris. I'm always excited for Idris Elba. So
heck yeah, man.
Yeah,
he kills it and everything.
Yeah,
and
he's
then,
great.
My big highlight, which I was surprised about, is John Cena. Like, he actually looked pretty good. I was like, oh snap! Like,
I don't know, man. I hate his costume look, like with the helmet and everything. Oh my god, you don't like it? It drives me crazy,
dude. I think it looked, to me, it feels like it's so cringe that it's perfect.
Yeah, maybe that's the point. Maybe it's supposed to be that way, and maybe I'm not looking at it the right way. Maybe that's the way you're supposed to be looking at it. I mean, I guess they do kind of make the toilet head joke or whatever in the beginning of the trailer. Yeah. So I get it now. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I know that what's it called? John Cena's character, Peacemaker or whatever, is supposed to be like a pacifist.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, but he's like, he'll murder anybody to make sure he can keep peace. Like, if I remember, like that's kind of the concept, is like he's a character that will literally like kill people to make sure that there's like peace. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so like I'm like, okay, so maybe the costuming and stuff, it is a little bit like cringy, but almost on purpose.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense now. That makes sense.
Yeah, the Peacemaker, a pacifist diplomat, so committed to peace that he was willing to use force to advance the cause.
What the heck? That's pretty great. Great. I'm kind of like kind of going back to the whole Harley Quinn thing and stuff. Like, the whole idea that she was like created in a show and then later became like just like such a great character in like the comics and everything else. That's such an interesting way that character was created, because it kind of completely destroys the argument that you can't create original characters in movies or shows or whatever that are comic book movies, you know? Like, just think about like just like this whole thing that they're doing right now with like the Black Superman thing, you know, with the movie that's being, I guess, in development. Like, what if instead of making like a Black Superman story, what if instead they just created like an all new original character who was a Kryptonian who happened to be black, you know?
Yeah.
And then like just started his story and just made it like a really well developed character. Don't just give him the Superman hand me down story, you know, but just give him his own story, make him his own character, and then see where it goes. See if it turns into something. And if he becomes a popular character, give him his own comic books series and stuff as well, you know? Like if they did that with Harley Quinn, then you could do that with anybody.
Yeah. No, I'm 100% agree with you. I think you know, I know a lot of people will say like, well, you know, there's all kinds of interpretations of these characters and blah blah blah. But like, to be honest, like wow, John Stewart as a Green Lantern. Like, he's a Green Lantern, but he's not the same Green Lantern as Hal Jordan.
Right.
Like, John Stewart's his own dude, and he's a good, like, he's a well-written character. Like, people like him. You know, but once again, why isn't he on screen? Like, why aren't we seeing him, you know, kicking ass in movies? We don't. Their immediate go-to is like, well, we got to use Hal Jordan because that's people know. I'm like, I'm sorry, I actually know more about John Stewart than I do about Hal Jordan as a Lantern. But that's because of the day and age I grew up in, you know. But yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Like, look at Black Panther. Look how popular that character is. He's, you know, it's not about him being black that he's popular. It just so happens that he's an African character, like, you know. Look at Luke Cage. I freaking loved Luke Cage TV series, you know. You see these characters that were created, that were iconic in the times, and they were created in the times that they were created. And it feels like there is a bit of stifling in that, like, we don't see that kind of originality anymore. It kind of feels like Hollywood gets stuck in like, let's reuse the same things over and over and over again. And you know, I don't know, I think that's a test. I think it's an indicator of sometimes the lack of, I think some of it's a lack of creativity, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's, I
totally agree.
Yeah, I think it's kind of an insult to be like, okay, well, in this one universe, Superman happened to be black, so let's just make like a black Superman. Because that's the thing, he's Kal-El. He's still, you know, I mean, like, you know, based on everything I've read about it, he's still the same Superman. He's just black. And I'm like, okay, well, that to me is like, okay, so we had to like take this story that we already had established and give him to a character with a different race to have a discussion about that. I mean, there's, you know,
like in isolation, I don't have a problem with Superman being black. You know, I don't really care. But my problem is that they could totally do something completely different with a black Kryptonian type of character that would, I feel like, be a lot more complimentary and less like, I don't know, like offensive in a way or something than just being like, all right, let's create a whole new Superman story. Let's make him black, you know, maybe that'll, you know, get us some, you know, woke points or whatever and stuff, and we'll just go from there, you know? Like, I don't know. I just feel like that there's, I mean, like Black Panther's just like such a great example of that. I don't know, maybe there were like maybe there are like black Kryptonian characters. I don't know anything about the comics or anything really. But if there are, then why not just, you know, create a movie about that guy or whatever?
Well, like that's the thing, you know, it's not like, you know, I mean, what's her name? Kara. She doesn't, you know, Superman's cousin, Supergirl, she doesn't show up until way later because like she's like, hey, I also survived. My parents sent me back. What, you know, there could have been Kryptonians on other planets that can't, you know, or something. I mean, like there's a lot of ways like to write a new character and a new tradition and a new idea. Like, you know, a guy comes down here, the Kryptonian comes down here. And the thing is too, you even can incorporate it. You can incorporate some of the concepts and stuff of like race and identity. Like let this guy come from a planet where he doesn't have to worry or think about being black because they don't think about it over there. And then he comes here and then you have like, cause I thought that during the climate that it was in, Luke Cage did a great job of talking about, hey, you know what? Like bulletproof black man. It's kind of an interesting idea. He wore the hoodie. He had a conversation about that, but the identity wasn't I am black and I am a superhero. It was like I'm a guy that got powers and I am black because I live in Harlem and I'm doing my thing. You know, like
exactly.
You know, yeah. I just think that there's ways to talk about the culture. I think there's ways to introduce these characters and stuff. And yeah, like you said, come up with original ideas that don't require like some of the times it feels like you almost have to try to like pander, like, well, we got this new black superhero or we got this new Asian superhero and stuff like that. And it's like, instead of it just being like a character that's like who they are, you know, I mean, exactly. You know, some of the controversy around Iron Fist being a white dude. And I'm like, well, the concept, they even address the fact that he's not from there.
Yeah,
that he's a white kid. And they're like, they didn't even like it. Like, you know, the people that were around him were like, well, they accept him as the Iron Fist because he earned it. And it's not because he's a white guy that he earned it, you know?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
You know? Yep. So, I don't know. So, it's a weird, like, back and forth, and it's a weird, like, balance, I feel like, to have. But yeah, there's just not a lot of original characters. I remember one of my heroes growing up, one of my favorite characters, Static Shock, who was like a recently created superhero. Back in the day, it was like a TV show that I used to watch, Static Shock, and I was like, oh, this is cool, you know. Or look at Into the Spider-Verse, you know,
exactly.
Like, that's not Black Spider-Man. That's a character that gets spider powers and is black.
Perfect example.
It didn't have to replace Peter Parker. It didn't have to be better than anybody else. He wasn't somebody else's idea that then he's just like, hey, I'm just this kid that got powers. And like, nobody's looking at it going, oh, you found another spider? How convenient. If anybody is like, come on, like, you know, like, dude, it's literally about a guy that got bit by a radioactive spider. Like,
exactly.
You know? Like,
but it's such a great story. Like, Into the Spider-Verse was amazing. It's such a great film,
and it deals with the culture and like he's, you know, it never once feels like they're being pandering. Yeah, he's just a good character. Like, Absolutely.
Like they should absolutely Miles Morales this Black Superman movie instead of trying to make it a Kal-El story or whatever and stuff.
Yeah, have him be in the same universe as Superman.
Yeah,
or even crazy idea, like let him have been living amongst us for all these years, but because Superman did his thing, he didn't feel like he had to.
yeah.
You know, and now you know what if you're gonna want to introduce him, you're gonna want to get rid of Henry Cavill, which I think is a total mistake. But like you get rid of Henry Cavill, want to replace him, have it come after the death of the Superman storyline. Let it be the guy that takes up the mantle, like has to become.
That
Superman.
would be great. That would be perfect.
Freaking perfect.
Yeah.
Easy. I just wrote that just now in a podcast off the top of my head. But like that's the thing too. Some of the times I feel like the complications of some of this stuff is like sometimes it feels complicated for complicated's sake. Like, come on, guys, like this isn't hard.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think it just shows just how lazy Hollywood is and just how cowardly they are. Because instead of like taking that risk of putting an original Black character out there to kind of be the Superman type character, they're either too lazy to do that because they don't want to try to create an original story, or they're too cowardly to do that because they don't think it's going to be successful. And Black Panther completely proves that this can be successful. Into the Spider-Verse completely proves that it can be successful. People love both of those movies. Both of those movies are highly popular. People love them. They got great reviews. They did very well. And it just goes to show that Hollywood does. I don't understand why Hollywood is continually afraid of trying to create new stories like this. And it just, I'm sick of it. I'm tired of just how I don't know, just how everything's just so bland in Hollywood.
Well, it's contrived. I mean, look at the crap with like Star Wars. I know we don't try to just sit here and crap on stuff in the podcast, but like some of the things, like look at this crap that we see in Star Wars, like a rock navigator named Geode, a ship named Vessel, and then the pilot of the ship is the concept of the character. Listen, I came home furious when I read this. Like I was actually mad, and I don't normally get mad about stuff like that because I'm like, whatever. But like, you have a character coming in whose concept is I want a rogue like pilot smuggler who isn't Han Solo. So I thought of, what about Matthew McConaughey in the 90s, and I give him a spaceship.
Yeah, right.
Wow. Did you actually know Matthew McConaughey in the 90s? Or what you're saying is, oh, I just kind of like thought about the star of Matthew McConaughey and how his swagger. And I'm like, that's your concept. Like that to me is the beginning of an idea, not a concept of a character. That would be like me going like, I don't know. I think I want some guy who's like strong and tough. What about Samuel L. Jackson in Pulp Fiction? Yeah, right. And that's it. That's my concept for the character, and then later you maybe write, but like, no, the idea can be, hey, I want this guy to have something similar to this. Yeah, exactly. Or I want this story to parallel this thing I know in real life, or this story I know in real life. Not, here's the concept, or, or taking a pre-created concept and saying, hey, thanks for all the work you did on this thing. I'm going to like cherry pick the stuff out of it that I don't want and put my own stuff into it, and then say that it's a cool idea. Yeah, right. Yeah. It just doesn't, I don't know. It just doesn't work the same way. And then not only that, but then you're just retelling the same freaking stories over again. How many times do we, I mean, like Marvel, literally because of how many times Spider-Man stories have been told, had to just skip over it when they introduced Tom Holland. They're just like, nah, he's already Spider-Man. Like, I mean, it worked. Yeah. And we didn't need to see the origin of Spider-Man again. No. And so they realized that, and I'm glad that they did that, because that would have been really annoying. So. Yeah. Well, even when you go to like Batman versus Superman, they did it in like the first like 3.5 minutes of the movie in a slow-mo montage. They're like, bang, the family's dead, Batman. Yep. Because nobody wants to see that story told over and over and over again. And if you want to make originality or bring something new to the story, instead of taking the same story and changing it to make it something unique, come up with your own freaking story. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, we live in a time where, and it's proven that original stories still work if it's done well.
Oh, heck yeah. Well, like even the reason the Joker story works for people that are
Yeah.
fans of the Joker, like the Joker in one of the comics actually says, if I had a backstory, I'd want it to be multiple choice. So even there's a concept right there that establishes itself as, you know what? The Joker is an unreliable narrator. You'll never be able to know what his story is. So you can have multiple takes on the character ideas, but there you go. Unique, interesting, different, you know?
Exactly.
But like Superman's story is not unique and different. It is my planet just got destroyed. My parents sent me to Earth. I'm a superhero.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're literally just coming right off the back of a pretty decent Superman, and like why it just feels like it's the whole it feels like in a lot of ways the whole Spider-Man situation again.
Yeah.
Because now we're getting instead of continuing with Henry Cavill, we're gonna introduce this new character and stuff. And
yeah. And I'm like, you know what? If you want to distance yourself from the Snyderverse, like you just don't hire Zack Snyder anymore.
Yeah.
Don't hire Zack Snyder and then tell Henry, hey, we kind of want to go in a different direction with the character, so we're going to kind of like reboot your story or, or something like.
Or just continue where it's at right now, because that would work.
And just change directions. Like, I mean, literally, there are a lot of people that liked Whedon's take on Superman, despite the weird CGI face mouth, but I know people, I know people that are like, I didn't care. I don't care. I like that Superman. That's my Superman right there. I love it. Right there in the same universe, you completely change the trajectory of that character.
Yeah.
Like, what unique thing are you going to add to a Superman because he's black now?
Yeah.
Because I
don't know. That's their selling pitch. He's black.
Yeah.
And there needs to be more to that, I guess. Yeah. Because
if he gets found by. Because the other thing is, like, if he gets found by black parents, like, oh, what are the chances that the black Superman just happened to find black parents? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the other thing. Is he raised by Mom and Pa Kent? I don't know. Like I said, I don't know a whole lot about this new Calvin Ellis Superman, other than he's the same Superman. He's just black. And I'm like, that's not an interesting concept. Like, an interesting concept is, what if Superman didn't land here? Which they did, because they actually do that with Ultraman, who is what happens. I think Superman got caught by Lex Luthor or something like that. He got found by somebody else, and they raised him to be this like crazy dictator. Or the Red Sun story, where like literally Superman lands in Russia, and the Russian government's like takes him, brainwashes him into being like this giant like symbol for like Russia.
Yeah,
like. That's an interesting concept.
Yeah, exactly.
Not what if Superman was Asian?
Yeah,
and I'm like, well, he's not Asian because he's not from Asia. He's from Krypton. So the only difference between Calvin Ellis and Clark Kent should be, I have darker pigmentation.
Yep.
But I'm still the same dude.
Yeah.
Unless, here's even a thing. I'd even give them this. I'd hand them this on a silver platter. Say, what happens if you have a black Superman that lands in the middle of like Podunk, Kansas, and has to deal with being the only black guy with who also has superpowers in like a super rural area?
Yeah. Exactly.
But you know what? Maybe he doesn't become Superman then.
Yeah, maybe he's trying to deal with the fear of coming out as a superhero and stuff, or something like that. Because like that would be interesting. That'd be an interesting story.
I'd watch that, but guess what? He doesn't become Superman then. The reason he becomes Superman because Clark Kent, raised by Martha and Jonathan Kent, decided to become a superhero and a symbol for the world. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Like, who wrote this?
Hollywood's just lazy. I don't know. Like they just suck. They suck at it. They just suck at telling stories now.
It really feels like that, man. It feels like there's been a huge regression, and the only like unique stories we get are like indie stuff. And then as soon as they get big, like John Wick, As soon as he got big, you know, like now
I was just about to say, like John Wick is a great example of that. Of like, it's a completely original character that they brought onto the scene. He did really well. He did really well as an original character, and now he has his own franchise and everything else, and everyone knows who John Wick is now. He's got a freaking Fortnite character. Like everyone knows who he is.
Yep.
And it shows that it can be done if you have a great story, if you have great, compelling characters.
Yeah, it's not that difficult.
No, it's not.
It's really not. There's a lot of superheroes. There's a lot of popular superheroes that we still haven't seen. Where's Terry McGinnis for Batman Beyond?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right there, you got a new Batman take, and they're like, "Nah, we're gonna reboot Bruce Wayne again, man, because he's the only guy that we know." Or, well, no, we gotta have Superman, but he's got to be Pacific Islander.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
he's from Hawaiian Superman.
Hawaiian Superman. Let's go.
Yeah. Mahalo. You know, he's like beating dudes up and.
You guys like that? You guys like that?
Yeah. You know, I'm like, I don't know, man. I kind of would watch that though. Hawaiian Superman.
Oh man, yeah. I mean,
The Rock.
Yeah, that's easy. Just get The Rock to play him.
He doesn't do anything different. He doesn't have any takes on it. He's just The Rock in a bat suit, and he just goes from beating people up. Oh man.
Oh man. Well, you know, yeah. I don't know. I guess there's hardly anything you can really do about it at this point. Just, you know, continue to support actual good movies and stuff, and
you
know, put your opinions out there. So, yeah. With that being said, Ben's not here. I hope he's having a good vacation and stuff. That's fine.
You know, I want to say, I hope he's having a good vacation because he's my friend. But I also kind of don't want him to have that great of a vacation because then he'll be encouraged to not come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'd have some freaking hot takes about this discussion. Let me tell you.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait for him to come back next week and tell me how great his vacation was. If he didn't have a good time, I'm going to be pissed.
Well, last time he was on vacation, he ended up in the hospital. So we'll see. I mean, to be fair, Ben didn't necessarily need to go to the hospital. He just had a tummy ache, and that's enough. That's enough to get Ben to the ER.
When you have a tummy ache and on vacation, you have to go to the hospital
every time. Ship him right off.
Oh man.
Anyway, with that being said, if you guys wouldn't mind, please leave a comment, a review, like this video, subscribe, do all of that great stuff. We really do appreciate it. Let us know what you think about this conversation. We would love to hear your guys' opinions about this stuff. Whether you agree with us, disagree with us, it doesn't matter. Just give us your opinions. We'd love to discuss it with you guys. So with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed, and we will talk to you next week. Bye.